Hi, I'm Mark Shuler and I'm a marriage and family therapist. I have been one for 15 years and my goal is for you to have a better time in life.
And I'm Dawn Goldberg. I'm a writing coach and communications trainer, and I help people uncover their deeper message and then communicate that powerfully.
And we're here today to talk about relationships. Now, we're not here to talk about just romantic relationships. We are here to talk about all relationships, all of the relationships that we have and that you have in your life. And I think we need to talk a little bit about our story because this is essentially a big part of why we're doing this. When Dawn and I came together, we realized that we had, there was definitely a spark there. There was definitely something pretty quickly, right away. But we'd also experienced enough life to know that regardless of that, relationships take work, especially romantic relationships. When you're with somebody for quite a while, there's going to be lots of different aspects. There's going to be differences, and we needed to make sure that we honored those and gave and worked on those and discussed them. So we did a lot of work at the beginning, and it actually paid off. And what I realized is that in doing that work and helping each other understand our differences and our similarities, we did what I call clearing up some space. So we cleared some space for us to be able to experience life together, etc. And very quickly, we realized that we started to, well, let's put it this way. We realized that a lot of what was happening was discussions, conflicts, and what I call processing of other relationships. We were talking a lot about that, and sometimes it would take up time that we thought we had space. We're going to go see a movie, we're going to do whatever we do, and instead it took up a lot of our time. And we started looking at that, and that was like the next step. It's like, okay, so we have pretty good communication, but we're still spending an awful lot of time dealing with other things.
Outside stuff.
Outside stuff.
Right. And because it was a fairly new relationship, I had that viewpoint of the objective observer, and I could see a lot of what was happening in your life and the things we had to process were the result of some unhealthy relationships, work colleagues, friends, even family.
And vice versa. What I would be hearing Dawn talk about a lot is whatever these conflicts were going on with her relationships, and of course, being objective observers, we could say, well, have you tried this, have you tried that? And we worked on some of that, and then we started realizing that part of what was going on was there was an energy drain in some of these relationships, and then we started asking, what are we going to do about that? And out of that actually came something that we called extreme clearing, which meant, okay, we really have to do something about this because these things aren't going to clear themselves up on their own. So then we realized, we have to actually have some kind of structure, a task, a goal to help us with these relationships that were taking up an awful lot of our time and energy.
We had to spend a lot of our time what we call extreme clearing. There's a period of a couple of years where it just seemed like we just kept going through, boy, this relationship doesn't work, and this relationship needs to go, or this relationship needs boundaries, and that's why we called it extreme clearing. It's as if we were clearing all of that out. And as we did that, we discovered the extent to which, unfortunately, there were so many relationships in our lives which were not energy and life-giving. And as a matter of fact, it was quite the opposite. They were draining us. And after we had the experience of having the positive relationship, wow, here's a positive relationship that actually gives us energy, then that started getting us thinking.
And in that thinking, we actually asked, what do we do about this? And this is essentially when the relationship inventory was conceived.
And the basis of the relationship inventory is actually a really simple question. Does this relationship give me energy or does it drain my energy? And one late at night, we came up with this graph to be able to graph that simple question. Where would a relationship be on this scale? Is the energy exchange positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral? And then from that came the process that we developed, which is our 3-step process for the relationship inventory, where we identify the relationships in our lives and where they fall on that scale, correct them, well, the negative ones, and then prevent the negative draining relationships and increase the positive ones, or form new positive relationships.
And so, along with this whole process, what happened for me was I started to think, okay, wait a minute, I've been a therapist, I should, first of all, how did I get myself into this mess? And because I should know better. And then I had to start thinking about it. Of course, the phrase "doctor, heal thyself" came up a few times. And I started thinking about what is it about these dynamics, or what is it about me as a therapist that I wasn't able to see that, happening in my own life. And one of the things that I realized is that when I work with patients, clients, as I call them, we usually worked on either specific relationships or specific issues. And so we didn't really get into the realm of, what does the big picture look like? What does the big picture of your life look like? How much time is spent, in we'll call it negative energy? How much time is spent in downerness, and how much spent is up here? No, we want to work on these things, and then the rest of that will take care of itself. And so I had a kind of a shift in my vision, if you will, in my observations of life, and that was that we needed to look at what gives us energy and what takes it away. Now, what's nice about this is that I did acquire tools both in my life and as studying to become a therapist, and in my work with clients, that I could use in this, so we can have some structure and some tools to help us get there. But that's not the whole thing. There's more to it. There's actually, how do we actually function in life and have more, increase our positive relationships and prevent the beginnings of not so wholesome relationships.
And what I bring to it, besides being the co-designer and helping figure out this whole process and the tools and a way to actually put it in front of the world, is my experience as a writer and a writing coach and communications trainer, which is helping people communicate. And sometimes that's communicate with themselves and figure out what's going on with themselves, as well as what is it that they want to say and how do they say that. And so what we'd like to present to you is the Relationship Inventory Workshop, which comes in 2 forms: a 90-minute introduction where we talk about the step 1, identify, and we give some samples of how to correct. And then there's also the 2-day intensive, where not only do we thoroughly go through these, but then we also give you an opportunity to role play or talk about your particular situations and get, I need to find a better word, but hot seat coaching for your particular situations.
And we might add here that none of this is mandatory in the workshops. If hot seat coaching sounds a little scary to you, it's definitely not something that we're going to what?
We're not going to force any of this, because we have one goal, and our goal is for you to have more positive energy and to be able to go do the things you want to do in the world and not be dragged down by the negative relationships in your life, which we all have that. And it's a continual work in process, and we're here to help you with that.
So, if this sounds interesting to you, if this sounds like something you want to do, there's you can look at the material below this video and see if this is something you want to try. And you can try the 90-minute workshop and at least get a sample of what we're doing, and or you can go straight for the relationship inventory 2-day workshop. Either way, here's to you having a better time in life.